In this video, we're going to be looking at running form, but I want to just be completely clear. This is not about perfection. I, for one, I'm 57 years old. My running form is not perfect. And you shouldn't really get bent out of shape, excusing the pun, about that either. It's more about having some level of awareness around that. I'll give you an analogy. Many years ago, I decided for some weird reason to try golf. And the first time I hit a ball a couple of times, did quite a long way, did quite well. And then somebody came along and said, look, Lee, you've got to learn the right technique to hold the golf club and get a swing. And I stood there and they said, bend your knee, hold your, get that grip and all that. And by the end of it, I was so tense that I could hardly breathe, let alone hit a golf ball. Am I saying that technique isn't important? Of course not. I'm just saying, like everything, it's about balance. And the reality is, with the sedentary lifestyle we all tend to lead these days, that our running form, because of probably things to do with our hips, is going to be less than ideal. So we want to look at that. However, we don't want to get to the point where we're almost scared to go out and run, or we feel that we're not running perfectly, because a lot of us won't be, particularly as we get older. There's going to be impingements on our body that some of them we can do something about, but may take time. And there may be things in our mechanical makeup that we can't do anything about. I remember many years ago, I was running a half marathon. I was behind this guy, and you do quite often, you get somebody in your sights and you think, I'm going to catch that guy. And this guy was running, and from the back, all I could see was arms flailing out, legs flicking out from all kinds of angles. And I thought, I'm going to catch him. Could I catch this guy? No. Did he have the perfect running form? He probably had the worst running form I've ever seen in my life. However, he was moving at quite a steady pace. Does that mean that if he improved his running form, he couldn't get better? Yeah, he could get better. But I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. So take this video, look at it about what you can improve, particularly looking at overstriding initially, because of creating a scenario where you may get injured. And look at the other things that may make incremental 1 or 2% improvements on your running form that will decrease the chance of unnecessary injury and increase your running economy and efficiency, which will mean that you more than likely will be able to go further without getting injured and go faster. And that's the kind of goal. However, chase perfection, catch excellence is my intention with this video. Overstriding is really common, and it's much more subtle than some people may initially think. So you might only just see my legs when I stand up, but so when you're running, if your ankle, I'm exaggerating, but if your ankle lands in front of your knee, that's overstriding. They should hit and be aligned as they come down. So you've got this literal cycling motion of the feet. So as they land, if that ankle's doing that and your knee is behind your ankle, that is overstriding. And that can cause problems further up the body. I personally, when I tried to change my running form in my early days, I was under the misunderstanding that I needed to stride more, which is something I've learned since. And that actually caused some injuries in my calf areas and further up my legs. And it's one of the things I think, if people go like minimalist shoes, overstriding, if you've got that capacity with minimalist shoes, that's where a lot of the injuries come. One of the ways to improve it is to make sure that your cadence is high enough, because you're very unlikely to overstride, or less likely to overstride with the cadence, because if you've got your feet and you've got the cadence up, you've got this sort of almost circle of feet, just going right, like almost like a bike, where your feet are hitting ground. I was once told, which I know it's probably not a good analogy in some ways, but running is a bit like hopping because you're literally more or less only ever on one foot. Now, obviously, some people take that the wrong way. You want the time that your feet, you don't want to bounce. That's the thing. So you want to have that cadence. The more time you're in the air, the less time you've got that your feet are propelling you forward. So that higher cadence will, in lots of ways, no one could run for long distances over striding. It would be just, I think for the majority of people, too tiring. So the cadence is one of the things that will probably contribute to fixing that. But if you can get, say, a camera, like an iPhone, they're brilliant these days, and just look where it is. So like I say, if your stride, as you're running, and your stride is, and your ankle is hitting that area first, that's where you're going to have the potential problems. And it's less economic as well, in the respect of running, particularly longer distance running, is all about economy. It's about getting the most from the least amount of effort. And of course, if you're overstriding, you're actually creating more effort for potentially less return, and also adding in the risk of injury. So I think overstriding for me is, you can improve many things about your running form, but overstriding actually is one of the easier ones to fix. And I think it's one of the ones that can really, really assist the economy of your running the most quickly. Just want to add something about overstriding. Don't want to confuse that with stride length. Once you have your stride form correct, there's nothing wrong with increasing your stride length over time, because there's really only two ways that you can get faster. With the cadence, your turnover, but once that reaches a certain point, or unless you're something, you can turn a button and go into fast forward, you won't be able to turn over any quicker. The only other way then is to increase the stride length. The problem is, and this is what I've been guilty of in the past, when I've tried to increase stride length, I've overstrided, if that's a word. So getting clear on the two differences, making sure you don't overstride doesn't mean that you can't increase stride length, as long as you're not overstriding. I know, confusing, but just to get clear on that, because over the years, I've been confused with the two. And I think, yet again, if you're older, the problem is stride length can reduce because of problems within the hip areas or just stiffness generally, and you get this old man shuffle and like little steps. Cadence can be quite high, but the problem is that the speed isn't there because the stride length is reducing all the time. So I think it's really important to build the stride length, but with awareness of not overstriding. So I just think it's a gradual thing. If you want to build the speed and your cadence has got up and you're aware of your kind of, you're not overstriding, then start to do exercises that can help you build the stride length. One I will share straight away here is doing just strides. So at an end of an easy run, doing some quicker running, say for 60 seconds, say 100 meters, just building out that stride, then resting and doing that, say, depending on your ability, 5-6 times at an end of a run. Strides are great for building speed into your running in a fairly safe way, but just be aware of the dangers of actually overstriding with that. But if done with strides quickly like that, you're less likely to anyway. One of the things that you hear about running form is having a tall posture and also having this legendary bend in your running. It gets a lot of runners confused. Basically, you've got to have that straight line up your body. Because a lot of people sit a lot these days, they crouch forward. You don't want to be running like, I'm exaggerating slightly, but you don't want to be running like this. You want to be upright. Where does the bend come from? It actually comes right from your ankles. So really the bend in your body should be coming from your ankle area, not from your hip area. You shouldn't be bent over. You should be upright when you run. So you've got this almost, I always think of it like somebody's like a puppet, got a string right the way through my head and body, and they're pulling me upward, and I'm straight when I'm running. The bend, if there is any slightly forward, comes right the way lower down in my body at this kind of ankle area. It doesn't actually happen here, which is I think a lot of people mistake. If you slouch down, you're creating all kinds of problems throughout the chain of command throughout your body. So you really should have this kind of like straight head posture. Remember that your head is the heaviest part of your body. So the tendency to bring your head down, that brings the shoulders down. The shoulders should be relaxed, which we'll come to in a moment. The areas that you get a lot from, that I find really weird with running form, is to relax, to physically relax. Shoulders. I see loads of people running with their shoulders up around their ears. That creates tension in your arms and throughout your body. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Make sure your face muscles are relaxed. I know it sounds silly, but like this, it puts tension through your body. It's going to tense the whole of your running form up. So relax in that respect. I know it sounds a bit silly. Your hands matter as well. Running with the clenched, first loosen. I don't have my hands fully open. I tend to hold them slightly like I was holding something in my hands, and I run. And then the other thing is the arm movement. You don't have it. I have aware that the arms have enormous power to drive your body forward. If you're doing that, all you're doing, I'm exaggerating, is swinging your body and creating more bounce. You remember you're moving forward, your energy flows where your focus goes. So your head forward using your, I think it's called your parasympathetic system, widen out your kind of vision so that you've got good vision, you're relaxed when you're running, and move the arms forward. And obviously the quicker you want to go, the more movement you've got, but don't tense up that area. When you're doing kind of strength training, don't ignore your arms. Your arms, we're a bit the reverse of people in gyms. We ignore our arms and work on our legs. Don't ignore your arms. Your arms are connected. We're all interconnected. We've got a chain of command throughout our body as far as runners are concerned. And so moving the arms will give you more speed and better running form. Moving them across will just swing you from side to side. You want to be symmetrical with your body. When you run, as I've mentioned, be upright. I'm obviously on my knees now, but your body is upright like that. So you're running upright. The bend, the legendary bend in your body, comes from the ankles. This thing about bending forward, you don't want to bend forward from the hips. You want to be upright and run and relaxed. So if you're doing that and there is any bend, it comes actually from the ankles. If you've got limitation in your ankles, that's something to work on, because that will, where you will then probably overcompensate, or may try to, by bending forward with your hip area, which you don't want to be actually doing.